now for a more wider scope in terms of solution demo of the Uptempo platform. And well, subject of today, we are focusing indeed on plan and spend. And we're actually, for dramatic purposes, we'll start our presentation with the spend portion. And without further ado, let's head over into the live demo. So here I am logged into the system already. From the get-go, I'm presented with my personal favorite dashboard, and that is a top-down versus bottom-up budget planning dashboard. So what I see is our investment target have been 67.4 million. Against this, I have planned a certain amount of budget. I'm 92% complete. I know where I'm good. I know where I'm supposed to be, filling out a little bit more metadata, etc. So we have these heuristics in the system to guide you accordingly. And then going down there, I have a dashboard for investment mix by objective, by customer journey, by segment, cost, activity type, persona, product. Ultimately, which metadata, which segmentation, which custom attribute, which taxonomy you're going for, this is completely up to you. This not only goes for such a dashboard as we're looking at it here, any kind of dashboards, be they standard or be they of the custom dashboards that we can provide you with. Now, we do have a chicken and an egg problem because, well, it's great to have such reports for decision-making, but before you have the data to report on, you have to get some work done. So let's take a step back here and have a look at how that is done. So very typically early on in the planning phase, we have some business objectives provided by the business. So business could be like, hey, please be so kind, marketing, please increase annual revenue by 10%. That would be great. And so marketing says, say no more. We expand the market penetration in South America, have these marketing priorities set up with measurable, tangible OKRs. And already here, we can visualize we have these synergistic effects going on with aligning marketing to the business. But it goes forward, we trickle it down to key actions for marketing teams. Those would then be assigned to the individual investment and the individual activities for the end-to-end strategy map to the financial execution, if you will. So let's have a look at that. So we go to the menu and into the budgets. This is where our fictitious company, Solus, they're doing sustainable technology. They have budgeted into various segments. So we have agencies, product marketing, marketing operations, channel marketing, different subcategories. There is field marketing with different regional budget buckets, etc. And then we have our North American investment plan here as well. We will get to that in a minute. But before we do that, let's open the details panel, because this is where the magic happens in terms of top-down budgeting. So you can freely distribute a budget over time for the various investment plans. You can also request transfers in between those plans here as well with a according approval workflow. But for now, let's go into one such investment plan. And this is kind of the payload of the investment plan, where what looks like a campaign plan is just reminiscent of one. It is actually an investment plan. We are in the spend chapter after all. Every line item reflects an individual investment portion that we're planning out. So currently we're looking at the planned budget. We can showcase these head-up displays. So this is great for our zero budgeting, top-down versus bottom-up. How are we ranking against that? Here is our strategic and objective alignment. Again, all of those line items, they are either contributing or not contributing to a strategic incentive that has been given to us. Now, we can change the view here. So maybe we would like to have an aggregate over the quarters, or maybe we would like to have a more in-depth look into the actual spending. So down the road, there will be invoices, that's the actuals. Down the road, there will be purchase orders, our committed budget. But even before that, what we can do is we can forecast our spending. That's actually a pretty powerful tool, because what we can do essentially is we can say, you know what, not only have we planned to spend 40,000, we're indeed forecasting that 37,500 are going to be spent, even before we have contractually committed it via purchase orders. And therefore, we are removing the friction between marketing and other departments and controlling and finance. It's great for accrual management. Please don't take away that budget for us. So after forecasting, how are we getting to town when it comes to committing the budget, initiating purchase requisitions? You actually can do this right from within your system of record of marketing, Uptempo, if you will. Opening the details panel here, we notice We have these fully customizable tabs worth budget, general ledgers, cost centers, etc. What finance cares for, investment details, spend type detail, supplier type, etc. All the metadata that is relevant for the reporting that we also had started our journey with today. But the beauty here is that we have these infamous action buttons. And so right from within the system, we can initiate a purchase requisition. So we can kick this off. We have this intake form. Everything what you see here is fully customizable. Maybe you don't even want to have that intake form, but you can have it. So let's say I would like to raise a full purchase order, bring in some very creative description here of mine. And then down here, we have the individual line items for our purchase requisition. So let's say we go for 50,000 for a specific cost center, marketing operations. We can add another line item. I bring in another value, 30,000 for good measure. And then this goes straight to the office of the CMO. So what we can do is now we can submit this. And notice before I do this, here in the background, we have a number, and that is actually the line item ID, which is a very crucial number, because we sent this number along with that purchase requisition to the third-party system in your back office for procurement. Because down the road, that back office system will, according to approval, will issue the purchase order. So we can bring that purchase order and reconcile it with our planned budget line item. And the same would apply then down the road once goods received, once the invoice has been expensed, we roll back that invoice back into our system for us as a marketer in our system of record for marketing to have the end-to-end tracking of our financial journey, if you will, from planning over forecast, purchase orders, and the actuals. So this is great. I'm looking at this. This is the North American field marketing spend management plan, if you will. But maybe my boss, she wants to have a rather high-level overview. She is the global manager for field marketing on Solus. And so she wants to have a roll-up view of that over the whole globe. So she can have that. What have we planned globally? What have we committed globally, etc. And she can also leverage different views. So maybe she wants to have a more aggregated view on, okay, what is our zero budgeting plan versus actual, purchase order versus actual, etc. Where are we looking at in that regard? So much for spend. And let's have a brief recap here. We have just seen the top-down provided budget against which we have planned and bottom-up. All the rich details and metadata and taxonomy on that level informs then all the reports that we have had a look at the beginning. And yeah, we have the forecasting also that can be reported on, and everything rolls up nicely for management views, even without going to the reports. Yet these reports, they are at your disposal nonetheless. We have had a look at how we can align the corporate strategy to those investments. And we have recognized that we can, from within the system, we can kick off procurement automatically without actually having to go to a separate system. However, meanwhile, we have just had a look at the spend management and the planning of budget. We have not yet planned for the actual go-to-market, all our campaigns and activities. So let's have a look at that as well. So going back to the system, we have a dedicated area for that with all the timelines and Gantt charts that you would expect. So what we are looking at here right now is our go-to-market calendar with all the timelines. Yeah, we are looking at today. We have currently going on the 2023 channel marketing plan. So what is this? Let's have a look. Let's digest this piece by piece. So I open this, and in here I see this element is actually of type, well, plan. That makes sense. And so what we have down here, and these are even mandatory, we have the plan year and the plan type. I go a level deeper here in the rabbit hole, and what we then are presented with is a campaign. Now, this campaign has campaign objective, campaign theme. Okay, that makes sense. Go a level deeper, and we will stop here in a second. Program has program family and represented offering. The point here being that we are context aware and only ever present the asks for the taxonomy and the metadata that's relevant for your task at hand. So we capture that where it is relevant and don't bother you with that where it is not relevant. The other thing is, well, we are looking at a program that is sitting underneath a campaign. Maybe this is vastly different for you. Maybe for you it is campaign and program the other way around. Maybe you have a level in between. Maybe you have a layer for channels. Maybe you have a layer for instrument, etc. However you see fit, we have got you covered, because there is a nesting rules engine in place that gives you kind of guide rails. So you have a structured marketing planning. We can even accommodate differences in different departments and different markets for different audiences, etc. So everybody can plan according to their needs. And yet, with the metadata on the lowest level, the payload of the plan, if you will, think tactics, the actual activities, content production runs, where we capture all the metadata that we then also can run reports on, we kind of can go a highest denominator kind of an approach, so that we can compare apples and oranges between different marketing plans, if you will. So this is what we can do. We can, of course, then also leverage the metadata, having a look at, for instance, campaign objectives. So understanding that from a different angle, pivot the whole hierarchy, understanding, okay, great, which campaigns are actually going for demand creation, which campaigns are actually going for reputation, and so on. So having different perspectives, utilizing all the metadata. But all those campaigns and activities, ultimately, we have to budget for them. We've managed spend already. So how does that look like? It's a simple exercise of going to budget and then understanding that we can associate those activity line items with multiple spend line items in the spend hierarchy, because this is the beauty of the system, where we have two hierarchies. Yeah, we can basically multiple dip into different budget buckets, leveraging multiple budget sources, but we can also distribute our spend to various activities when it comes to splitting, having kind of efficiencies in that regard. Why are we doing this though? What we can do with the system, we can actually forecast already during the planning phase the performance that we're going for. So what we can do here, and let's talk this in a kind of a generic way, we can actually project top of the funnel performance over our go-to-market. So purple here has kind of the top of the funnel performance impact that we are going for, that we are planning to produce, to hit the market with, if you will. And over time, this performance will be generated. And then we have this delay, after which we have the revenue impact to the business. So how do we get there? Well, we have underneath the hood, we have a funnel projection going on. What we're looking at right now is a B2B funnel. It is completely configurable. It can be a B2C funnel. We can look at a demand waterfall. We can look at a lead waterfall. We can look at a above the line, below the line. It is ultimately completely up to you how to set this up. The key piece here is that we have these parameters, conversion rates between those individual stages. We have the velocity between those individual stages. And according to the average deal size, it translates to the revenue contribution to the business. And what's important here, we're looking at the planning of things. So we will have to fact check this against the actual performance measured. So we will handle that in a minute. But this is already an important piece, because it allows us to assess whether our plan is having integrity. And what we mean by that is figuring out whether, heaven forbid, if we are actually successful with the execution of our planned plan, we're not hitting our targets. So maybe we should pivot on the spot and course correct before we achieve our goals that are not set up properly for us in terms of the marketing execution. Now, there is one more thing that I would like to show you live, and that is, first of all, right now, we can just go in here and plan in an agile manner according to my user rights and roles, that is. So simply via drag and drop, I can create those elements and go out there. But maybe I would like to have things handled in a more kind of orchestrated way. What we can do is we can have everything be planned out and laid out in a workflow-based manner. So all those elements can be linked to workflows, not only for the planning on a campaign and program level, but also for like work and collaborative execution level down the road. We will have a quick look at that at the end of the presentation. So associated with our activity, which is in this case a strategic plan, we have this this job, which is currently sitting in final review. We have all the metadata synced back and forth. We have our collaboration here on the right side. And what I want to show you here is that this suspiciously streamlined looking workflow here in this breadcrumb visualization up here, this is actually a potentially rather complex workflow. And I will show you later on an even more complex example, but there is this revision loop going on with re-entry points. There could be parallel gateways. We could have decision points within that we actually hide away from the end user with the concept of simplified views, that is. And this is not only reminiscent in these breadcrumb visualizations, it also shows in my personal favorite view in the system, which is the Kanban board. So here in the Kanban board for all kinds of workflows, that is, we have here an example for an activity brief. We have an example for some approval and planning. This is what we were just talking about. There could be price and promotions, commercial activity planning, that is, production runs, content creation. We will discuss this briefly in the next chapter, etc. So with this, let's jump back to the slides. Let's have a quick recap here. We have just discussed the activity calendar, how it can be sliced and diced by all different kinds of perspectives. We have seen the funnel projection, understanding the performance contribution early on in the planning phase, assessing whether we are having integrity in our planning. And then there is, of course, the need to fact check this against the actuals in the market. So not only are we having the planned return of invest, but then also integrated, we have the actual return of invest. We can compare this and understand whether we are on the right track or not. What we can also do is we can integrate into marketing attribution systems. What is nice here is that this is also something that we're having on our roadmap to support you with native marketing attribution modeling right within our system as well. And last but not least, we have discussed that we have these Kanban views on any types of workflows. Again, potentially very complex workflows with decision gateways, parallel workflow steps, etc. These are also used in the work side, which is not of today's presentation's focus, and yet a couple of slides just to briefly discuss this. So what Uptempo also has in store for you is work management, content creation processes, capacity management, where, okay, we utilize the workflow engine, in this case for a content creation piece, have different workflows driving it underneath the hood, again, hiding away the complexity. We leverage these intake forms for the collaborative aspects of content creation, rejecting assets, approving assets, having reviews and annotations going on with side-by-side comparison, think videos, documents, images, etc. And last but not least, it is then released into the asset library of Uptempo or then synchronized to your existing enterprise digital asset management. We support both. Now, supporting both takes us to my last slide in this presentation, and that is there are numerous integration use cases, and we will tackle them with integration Uptempo Fusion framework. So here the idea is around our solutions plan, spend, and work. We started our journey with spend today. We would integrate your back office systems for ERP, procurement, but also spend reconciliation. When it comes to planning, hitting your data lake, kicking off marketing automation or kicking off a sales campaign, but then also taking back the performance metrics accordingly. We can have work managed in our system, releasing assets to your digital asset management or leveraging assets from your digital asset management. Or if you say, you know what, we appreciate plan and spend, but we have something going on for work already in our existing project and work management tools, we can integrate your existing work management just as well. This is what I wanted to present you all today, and how we can help you with the Uptempo platform. And yeah, thank you for your time.